we'll go live for about 25 minutes.
We are live.
Beautiful.
We are live. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Hi, Anna. Welcome. It's lovely to have you here again for our meaningful conversations, which we've now been doing for perhaps a couple of years. I've really enjoyed them, and I know you do too. So let's get into today's topic, which is the importance of goal setting. And is it important? Do you do it? How do you do it? Weekly, not just the big goals and the vision, but bringing it back down to weekly and even daily goals. Is that a good idea? Is it not? Does it work? I believe Anna has much great information to share about this with us today. So Anna, take it away.
Thank you, Karen. I think I'm honored to be on your program every single time. And I love our collaboration. It has been so easy. And we heading toward each of our goals. However, in collaboration, I can see it enhance my work. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the opportunity to work with you. It has been such an easy journey to come up with the idea, work around the idea, and have that continuity of a program that run over more than 2 years now with such ease. It got to be something, right? So thank you so much for coming up with the idea of talking about goals, which I believe really appropriate for early of the year. And as throughout the year, we always have to know the goals that we are working towards. And we have to keep constantly reminding ourselves, what am I working towards? Otherwise, we'll be drifting, right? And I experienced that drifting. Have you ever experienced that?
Yes, very much so. And it's something I really believe in and teach my remind my clients all the time that if you're right, I call it driving around aimlessly. If we don't have not only a vision but goals, then we've got no focus. We are not able to take the next steps that are important to achieve those things that we want to achieve. They're just a kind of maybe sort of idea in our head. And if we don't make it a goal, making it a goal has specific benefits, which we can talk about. But if we don't make it a goal and then do the things that I'm sure you're going to share, Anna, then it just remains something that, I'd really like to get that done. Maybe I will do it next week or next month, or maybe I haven't got time at the moment, because, we default to all these doubting, negative comments, conversation in our head all the time, and a lot of it's in our unconscious mind and we don't even know what's going on. But when we tell it something, that's different. So let's go on with your what you have to share, Anna, about, by the way, you look beautiful, as you always do. You look beautiful today. I love your red lipstick. Yeah, you look really beautiful. So let's go on to share about what you have to share today, and we'll just have take the conversation where it goes.
I believe that every conversation I'm thinking, how can I add values to your audience? Because it's your program that you run, and I appreciate that you allow me to share with your audience. And for me, I always wanted to add some value. And in your mind, what is the pain that people out there have? The most painful point in terms of goals.
So in terms of achieving goals, the most painful point?
And then the journey of achieving goal, what is the most painful part? The problem, the major issue that we face ourselves or other people commonly face when it comes to goal.
I believe it's getting started. I think the hardest thing is getting started on that goal, even once you've set it. So setting it could be difficult for some people because they find it hard to commit, because they're afraid that if they commit to a goal and say, I'm going to do that, and if they don't succeed, then maybe people will think less of them, or they will have failed, or, they'll look silly and they'll be embarrassed. So that's one big issue that has people avoid setting real goals, setting big goals. And the other one is often a lot of us are procrastinators, we call it, and so if you don't do certain things that help you to achieve the goal, which we're going to talk about today, then you can procrastinate on getting started and on carrying it out. And I think once we start one step, it creates kind of a momentum, so that it's like the snowball going down the mountain, and it starts maybe as a little piece of rock that breaks off and starts going down the mountain. And then, hi Sharon, we've got Sharon Stocker on here. I'm the problem, I get in my way. Yeah, and thank you for your comment. Lovely to have you here. So the little piece of rock will start gathering once it breaks away and starts rolling down the mountain. Then it builds up momentum and it starts gathering more speed and more ice around it. And so that's what it's like with our goals, is that it's like pushing something uphill, is that a big, huge, heavy ball that's getting it started, that requires far more energy and far more strength. But once it starts rolling, then you can actually back off on the amount of pressure and force that you have to put on something. And it's the same with our goals. It's the starting that requires the energy and the focus and the motivation and all those things to get started. And once we get started, it's a lot easier to continue.
You raise a pain point, and then you already offer a solution as well. Like, it's hard to start. Even start to sit down and write goals is hard. It's hard for a lot of people. But however, I see successful people, they're really driven, and they are going after life. They're going after one thing after another. I would say, in my case, I'm really fast at action. I am launching myself into a project, and sometimes I avoid write it down, what it is that I actually want to achieve doing this. And sometimes I act before I know that. And same as the story where I was 17, I've heard that medical degrees would be the number one way out for me to have a better life, for example. And that point in time, I didn't know what it is I really want, but I just heard that there's something that is really good. Get into the medical degree. I didn't know whether it suit me or not. I didn't know whether it really is the thing for me or not. But because I heard that and I said, okay, I give it a go. I act quickly and I go, okay, pack my bag, move to the city, regardless of other people saying, no, you can't do that, you can't do this. I went for it. However, after I get into the first year of the degree, I realized it wasn't for me. So I think that is my pain point. And then I repeat that pattern over the years without any guidance. And I end up having one degree after another, one job after another. And it wasn't right either. It's only if I go into that for 2 years and to realize, no, this is not for me. No, this is not what I'm looking for. So for me, the pain was to launch into something without that clarity of what it is that I am after. And that for me is a painful point, to the point where I was 40 something and I felt really lost after 3 different degrees, 7 different jobs, and I still didn't know what I was after. So for me, goals setting is painful like that, because I can go after something, but I'm not sure if that is the goal for me. Until I found that I know exactly what it is for me, and then I can break down to small goals for the day, for the week, for the month, in order to get to that point, to the end goals in my life. And for me, that is the major problem. And I'm not sure if you see more issue like that for people out there, so that we can say we have a solution for each of these problems.
Wow. Yes, Anna, I didn't realize that you'd gone down that road of several degrees and several jobs. And yet, you know, I want to remind you and our listeners, we've got some people in LinkedIn who are watching too that are not showing up on the on the on the chat for some reason. That everything we do, even though we've changed track later on, don't lose sight of the lessons and the gifts that we have received from all those other things before we decided they weren't the track we wanted to take. Because everything that we do in our lives is part of our learning, it's part of our education. You know, even if we spend a lot of money on it and then don't do it, you know, I always say that was the cost of my education for that in that particular time. And so I just wanted to put that little comment in to say you wouldn't be who you are today if you hadn't done all those other things first, and none of us would. What we've had in our past makes us who we are today, and it makes us a much more valuable person in many, many ways, you know. As far as the people decide, all of us deciding what our goals are, I agree. And, you know, Sharon says it's courage, and her internal dialogue eclipses. I love the way you put that. Eclipses. I don't know if you can see the comments. Can you, Anna?
I can, yes.
Yeah, eclipses her capacity. And you're right. That's true for all of us. By the way, that's being human. So unfortunately, we human beings have internal dialogue. That's who we are. We have 60, and you heard me say this so many times, we have 60 to 70,000 pieces of internal dialogue, thoughts every single day. And most of them are in our unconscious mind, by the way, our subconscious mind, so we're not even aware of them. And yet they're making us feel fearful or doubtful, or, you know, because most of them are negative, they have a negative effect on us, and we don't know why. So it's really important to, with regard to the goal setting, is to maybe meditate on it and say, well, what do I really want to achieve this week? What's my big goal for a bit further out? Because, you know, we can set 3-year goals, we can set 1-year goals, but what Anna wanted to cover today, and I honor you for that, Anna, is to set, you know, make it up of smaller goals. And so you might say, well, what do I want to achieve in a month? That's a big goal. However, to get to that, what can I do in the next week? What will help me achieve that bigger goal? It might be that bigger goal in a month, or it might be the bigger goal in 90 days. A lot of people set 90-day plans and goals. But if you say, so what do I want to do in the next week? You could meditate on it. You can ask the universe or whoever is your spiritual belonging. It could be God, it could be the universe, it could be the cosmos, whatever you believe is part of you. And so you could meditate on it and say, well, what would be a great goal for me to achieve in the next week that's going to help me achieve my goal and my vision, my why, my purpose? So they all come back, or the little time frames build up to that big time frame, to that big part of us, which is our why, our purpose for being here. It's all part of it. But you can't just take a huge vision for 3 years and then say in a week, well, how do I achieve that? Because it's too much for our consciousness to deal with. So Anna's idea, I love it. I have a women's networking group I run with business women, which is specifically that we set our weekly goals. And it could be, by the way, it doesn't have to be a goal for your business. It doesn't have to be a goal for earning a particular amount of money. It could be a goal to do something that you've wanted to get done and you didn't even realize it was buzzing around in your head, like that fly buzzing around the room or the mosquito, stopping you actually from being able to focus, causing noise in your head. And so you could ask, you know, what So we set weekly goals, and it could be something like, well, actually, I've been wanting to get that plant repotted for so long, and I haven't done it, and it keeps coming up for me. I should do that. I want to do that. I might do it this weekend. Just put it on your goal for the week and get it done. And what we say with this weekly goal, and I don't know if you agree with this, Anna, but I'll stop talking in a minute. You can tell me, is that we say only choose one or two really important goals, and we call them WIGs, wildly important goal, 1 or 2 WIGs for the week. Because when people first come into this group, they say, oh yes, I've written my list of goals for the week. And we think that that's how we should operate. It's far easier if you set one achievable goal, and we can talk about SMART goals, and every letter of SMART has a meaning. One achievable goal, and then break it into tasks. But I'm going to hand over to you, Anna, because I know you've got some really valuable information to share about that. And so, yeah, can you add to that, please?
Thank you, Karen. I know that you has been running a business basically your whole life. You hardly work for anyone. And I come from someone who works for multiple different company for my whole life, up to 40. I quit about 6 or 7 years ago. So I go from one job to another, and I can see the difference. Since I started my business, I had to know what my business is about. I have to know my end goal, what it is that I'm doing, what kind of service and product that I deliver, what kind of people that I serve, what is the end result at the end of my life, what I want to achieve, what the purpose of me doing this. And I can understand from your point of view. I know business people out there think long term. You don't go out into the world running a business successfully without a long-term goals. Know exactly why you're doing that. Know exactly what product and what services and who you are going to serve. With that in mind, then you have the need to break that back into monthly, yearly, or period. You might have 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years goal, right? And then when to achieve that 5 years goal, you break it back to yearly, and then you break it back down to monthly, and then daily, and then weekly. And for me, I find that weekly is a powerful gap, powerful period of time in terms of all these goals for different period until I achieve my mission, or I achieve the vision that I set out to achieve. So I think for Sharon, she might say courage, maybe because I'm not sure whether Sharon is transitioning from one area to another, or from one job to another. I'm not sure. That need some kind of change, that take the courage to do that. Yeah. But if you do your work at work, you would be, exactly what that week's entail. And you know that each year you go through the cycle of review. So with your manager, so that you aim for the promotion, you aim for that incremental change in salary. Yeah. So the goal is kind of clearly set out by the company and by your communication with your manager. But when you run your own business, it is you who decide the goal. It is you who decide how big you want to go and how small you want to go. So in that term, I find that in the last few years, I understand the value of weekly goal, because daily you might be able to achieve it or not, but in the week you can say, I can achieve this much. And so important to know that, because daily, someday you set out something, you say, I want to do it that day, but then you feel unwell, or your child is have some kind of accident or something that happened, but you know the week, so you can weave your time around the week. And that is very important to know that you can weave that ahead. And so for me, I choose Sunday afternoon to decide on roughly the schedule of that week. And I kind of zero-based budget it. Like zero-based budget means I know this much time I got in the week. I slot in the important one, that non-negotiable. non-negotiable first, and then my, non-negotiable for me, sleep, my daughter, non-negotiable, and then my business. And I can see that I have about 6 hours average for a day for my business. And if I say minimum 4 hours, maximum 6 hours, what do I want to achieve for that week? And that is my kind of way to make sure that I can set it to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but sometimes it slipped, and still by the time of Saturday, I know that I achieved the major one in that week, and it feels like I'm moving closer to the goal for the year. It doesn't always move closer, but because of that direction, even if I achieve 10 to 20% of what I set out to do, I'm still happier than I would down the goal, than I would go over the, you hit and miss if you don't have that sense of direction. And then you end up doing hit and miss and no idea why I do that. Or, like for this year, for example, I aim to finish my book, for example, and I know each week at least I have that much hour for that, because it's most important to me. Then I don't hit and miss like the other years. I don't aim to write a book, for example. Then I wouldn't. My time didn't allocate for writing, for example, and the choice is different because I have a sense of direction. So that's what I wanted to share. So for me, it's about choosing the unit of time that is very controllable. When daily may be out of control, because someday you just don't feel well enough to do anything. However, you average out to the week, then it is very controllable. But this is a lot to do with running a business. When you are your own boss, you run it differently. But when you work with someone, you have to abide by the goal that your manager set out for you. And sometimes it's easier that way. It's easier that someone set out the goal and you have to do it. And there's a deadline set out by your manager. And if you don't achieve it, you may be you might not be considered for promotion or a salary increase. So because of that pressure, we make sure we do it, right? We arrange our day. We don't care what happened. If you are sick, you still turn up to do it because the boss say you got to finish this project by that day. But when you run your own business, that's where you have to discipline yourself. You have to set your own goal and make sure that you achieve it. So I see that this only happen when you have your own, you are the one who put the pressure on yourself. You don't wait for somebody else to tell you, you got to do it by that day. We are the one who tell ourselves, you got to do that by that day. And that make a person a leader. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Anna, you brought up so many good points. I agree. When you run a business, you're more than one person. You have many hats on. If you don't, then your business won't be successful. So not only are you the CEO and the manager, you're usually the one of the people in the team. One of the people who work for the business. You might be advertising, you might be marketing, you might be financial controller. You're many, many things when you run a business, and it's important to acknowledge those different hats and maybe break up your week into those different people and putting on those physically. You could even put on a different hat if you wanted to, or be the financial controller in a different area where you work, so that it's more steel in energy and you're ready to do that kind of accounting work, or be the marketing or advertising person in a different area where you get inspiration or you feel more creative. So there are many, many ways that, as you say, as a business owner, we can assist ourselves to be successful. The thing about having a big goal and then bringing it back to a weekly goal is it's so obvious, and yet it creates such wonderful results. And so there's a few things I could add to how you do that. One is, and I'm sure you already do it, Anna, but you didn't mention it, is write it down. So when you're thinking, what are my goals for this week, you actually write down what your goal, what your wig is. First of all, your wildly important one thing that you want to do if you achieve nothing else. There should be a wig. It will help you achieve it. So what is my wig for the week? Okay, what is the thing I want to achieve this week if that's the only thing I do? Write it down. And then another really helpful thing is to be part of an accountability team or group or membership. So like I said, anyone who's here, Sharon, you're welcome to reach out to me. I run a free women's networking mentorship every week on a Tuesday at 9:30 online, 9:30 Brisbane time online. I'm not sure where you are based. And we do goal setting and accountability. Now, we don't tell each other off if we don't achieve it, but do you know what? We have a wonderful Google form that sets out the general kind of area of the goal, and then the specific goal, what exactly is it? So it could be my health, could be the general area, and the specific goal might be to make and do an appointment to have my bone density done. Okay, so, and then we break that goal into, okay, what are 3 tasks that will make up the tasks required to achieve that goal? So for me, the first, if you listen to that goal to get my bone density checked, the first one is to find the form from my doctor that she gave me to go and get a bone density test done. So that was my first task. So I write it in the goal sheet. And then the second part would be to make an appointment to do that. So I write it in the goal sheet. Well, you know, type it in. It's an online goal sheet. And then the third one would be go to the appointment. And then what we do is we have a little box next to each task that we tick as we do it. And then did we achieve the goal is the last question. And it's a yes or a no. And then it's a comment. Why didn't I, do I want to comment on no? If no, or if yes? Well, often those of us who have done it or do it and said yes, we go, oh my gosh, this helps us achieve it so much. It just makes so much difference, because on a Tuesday morning or a Monday evening, if we haven't done it, because we know that we're going to come on line with other people at 9:30 the next morning, we'll be like, oh, better do my goal, right? It really works to be part of an accountability group. And like I said, we don't tell each other off. But I know that when I first started doing it, and I set some goals that were way too big for me to achieve in a week. So I didn't achieve them. And so then I would set it again. And I knew that if I didn't either break it down small enough to achieve in the week or change it, I didn't want to keep telling them, as the leader of one of the leaders of the group, that I hadn't achieved my goal, right? So it really works. It really works to do that, to find yourself a partner in accountability or a group that you can join that will help you to actually set goals and then achieve them. And then, at the end of the year, we actually reward. So it's about acknowledging your wins. So we, as the leaders of that group, we reward the person who set and achieved the most goals. Now, it's not a competition. It's about acknowledging our wins and acknowledging the people who achieve those wins. So that's just an example of the importance. Write it down. Make it small enough that you can achieve it in a week. Make it achievable. And get yourself a mentor, a partner, an accountability partner, or an accountability group, or a goal-setting group that will support you in this process. Because, like Anna said, otherwise we just go around aimlessly, and we have these kind of sort of, maybe I'd like to achieve this, but oh yeah, I'll do it next week. Oh, I didn't do it this week. I'll do it next week. I'll do it next month. Oh, do I really want to do it at all? Oh, it's too big. It's too hard. It's going to cost too much money, or whatever. And we have these thoughts that just happen by default because of who we are. But when you set the goal, you can respond to those thoughts with, no, I've said I'm going to do this. I've decided and I'm committed to this goal. Very different kind of energy, very different thoughts.
It's wonderful. I totally agree on those points. That write it down, send an accountable message, and have a team, have an accountable team. It is in our nature that we can let things slip if we operate alone. However, with the pressure of other people around us and everyone moving up in their life together, it is very inspirational to be amongst the people like that, who kicking goal, who set really big goal, small goal, bold. Sometimes we feel like, wow, they can do that in a week, so can I. And that really help. And as well, like you said, it is not about competition. It's not about for anyone telling anyone off, but about us committed to our own goal. And it feels really good. I like myself more whenever I tick all the box of the week that I intended to do. And I know I set goal for that week. It's not to stress me, because if it's too stressful, I won't do it. But if it's too comfortable, then I feel like I'm dead. I'm drifting. So I am stretching a little, but I know I can do it. I know that this week I can do it. If I can do this, and then next week I'll do something else, a little more. And by that, I've changed as a person. 4 or 5 years ago, I wouldn't say I am doing what I'm doing now. If I appear on my life like this, my heart would be pounding. But now I feel emotionally more stable, for example, and that achieved because of the weekly goal that I said to myself, and I do it. When I do it, I love myself more. And that's what more important than anything else, like more important than somebody else giving me a gift. I give myself the accountability. So that's what wonderful about goal setting. And like I said earlier, we set goal. There's 4 area of life, 3 area of life for me that I set goals on: my health, non-negotiable; my finance goals, non-negotiable; and my family and relationship with my family and with the other people around me is non-negotiable. I want my relationship to be amicable, lovely, happy, moving forward together. So those are the goals I achieve. I set to achieve in life, and then it breaks down to what do I want to do to achieve this? Who do I want to do this with? And so on. And I break it down, and what kind of business I'm doing as well. So that kind of leading me there. But of course, in a work, for people who are working, your goal may be achieve higher role at work, and then in the evening you might want to do something else. You might want to achieve other goals outside of work. So those are the area where we can set goals. Otherwise you say, oh, what's the point? I'm just going to work and I perform at work. I don't need to set goals. No, we do need to set goals for health, for relationship with our family, for even just a meal. Like in our family on a Sunday, we say we set goal for the week, when we eat what, and have a guidelines. And then during the week we might vary, but we have we kind of know where we're heading together as a team. So that is really lovely. I think that's it for me about goal setting today, for the time that we allowed to talk to your audience. I hand it back to you, Karen.
Thank you, Anna. You have shared so many valuable points and so much wonderful information to help people achieve their success really in life, reminding you that success is your success, it's nobody else's. I just want to say hi to Julie as well. Julie Tang has come on, and thank you for your comments, saying very valid points. It's wonderful to have you and Sharon, and I'm sure there are others who are on who aren't showing up or haven't commented or will watch the replay. So as you say, Anna, we've covered a lot today. I thought of a few things when you were talking, but they've gone from my mind now. So if anyone would like to reach out to either Anna or I, LinkedIn is the easiest way, I think. Message one of us directly if you've got any questions, if you require any assistance. Hi, Julie, again.
Hi.
And if you want to have a chat about it, because Anna has a lot of wonderful giving to do and sharing to do about so many things. I know you keep saying that I've been in business longer. However, you've done many other things, Anna. I haven't worked in the corporate world because I didn't want to, but I'm sure you've learned a lot from it, that things that perhaps I haven't learned. So, everything's a contribution to who you are, and you're a wonderful person. So,
thank you,
thanks for coming. You always light up my day when we have these sessions, and thank you everyone else for joining us. We'll be on again in, I think, will it be 2 weeks, Anna? Are we going to, do we have a date? Do we want to stick with the previous date, which was, I would just tell people when it is. I have, oh no, that's today. So we will, shall we make it and put it on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think we can close the meeting today, and then
we'll decide, and watch out for the next podcast that we will put on and what the topic will be. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming, everyone. Have a lovely week and good luck on your goals. And also, if you want to join the Goal Setting Accountability Mastermind group that I run with my people, also direct message me on LinkedIn. Okay, everyone. Bye for now.
See you for now.
Have a great week. Bye.